All right, okay, it's been about 3 or 4 minutes. All right, cool. All right, so we don't have too much time, and to be honest, it's late and we both need to sleep. So the long
Yeah,
and short of it is, what all I want to do is like a quick recap as to who you were when we first met each other, and then how the coaching has helped, like what pitfalls or difficulties you encountered, and then how it's basically culminated in this story of the blowjob, which blatantly wouldn't have happened 6 months ago.
that's true. That's true. All right. So who I was before. Okay. So I guess I was someone who was into game and pickup and stuff because I was looking to like improve my social skills and just get more females, or should I say more ladies into my life, and just just sort of like get that part of my life sorted. Like that's what this is mainly about, and also just becoming a better person. So I reached out to you through how did I find you actually?
Probably from Reddit. It's probably from one of my Reddit posts in 2018, most likely.
Yeah, probably. And then I joined the WhatsApp group that you guys made, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
but my question is like, how would you describe your dating life back then? So like, what's your life like with women?
Yeah, that was it was kind of dry. That's the word. Like after uni, like it just kind of became dry. I was like just working and not really doing much in that area. So I wasn't really talking to many girls during that time. And so if there was a way to describe my love life, then it was dry, like drought, nothing, nada. I wasn't talking to zero girls.
Was it that you were too scared, or was it that you just talk to them and they just didn't want to talk to you?
For the most part, it was like an internal thing, like scared, yeah, maybe scared, but it was more of like a lack of confidence in myself, and that definitely prevented me from taking action.
Because you didn't think you were good enough, basically.
No. I was coming from that space, like I didn't have nothing to offer, and I didn't really feel good enough. Yeah, that's a simpler way to put it. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I've got a bit of a question, which is, we must have known each other for at least like a good year or so before you decided to start the coaching. It wasn't like immediate at all. It was quite some time. So what was it that made you eventually think, you know what, I actually need to do this? Like why do it at the time you did, and then not say the very first time you ever heard of me?
I think it was because I didn't right away, because I don't know, part of me thought like, okay, I'm part of this group, let me just see if I can get as much motivation from them to actually take action and improvement in this area. But that was kind of let's say it didn't work out. I didn't feel that fire, that drive to actually take as much action as I needed to. And then I'm pretty sure some of your clients in the group started talking about how how your coaching was helping them. And again, I didn't right away. I didn't think, okay, maybe I should try some coaching. I just thought like, let me just stick to this group. Let me do my 1 or 2 approaches per week, and then that'll be done. And eventually I'll get someone. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the spark. One of your clients definitely started talking about their experience and how your coaching has helped them. And to be honest with you, I've always wanted to get some coaching from someone, but I didn't really, because most of it is like, what do they say, like oil salesmen, like they just want to. But no, I could tell that you and Joe actually actually cared about making a difference in people's, dating life, especially if it's dry, like here. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so that was definitely a big motivator. And I knew I could definitely get further than I would by myself. Which is like, it's like, I don't know, I think it was probably a pride thing for me. It's like, I like getting coaching. Sometimes people are like, yeah, I don't need coaching, I can do this by myself. But
yeah, no, I know that feeling. The funny thing is, like, I've been in this world literally since about 2001, and I didn't really make much progress until about 2010, because I thought, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go it on my own. I'm good. And I did make some progress, but it was in 2010 when I actually got myself a coach, when that guy's like, Ciaran, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. And like, one issue that I had at the time was that I would have girls who, when I would talk to them on the phone, they were really happy, and they'd be laughing and they'd be joking and bubbling and blah, blah, blah. But then, like, once we hung up the phone, I would call them again, and it's like they wouldn't pick up. It's like, what the hell's going on? It just baffled me. Yeah. I didn't get it. And this guy's like, yeah, because you're not building any comfort. There's attraction and there's comfort. You're just attracting them and there's no comfort. I was like, oh my God. And like, the guy was so right. Now, I would have eventually figured that out myself, but God knows when that would have been. But anyway, all right. So when you, is there something you're going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say something about what you just said. Like, for me, I think this is another thing that you probably pointed out as well. Like, I was, like, if I did get, like, talking with a girl, it would be more of like a comfort thing than the attraction part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah. It
would end up being like a friendly type thing.
Yeah. That's definitely true. It's definitely your thing. So when you started, how did you find it? And like, so did you have any difficulties? Were there any doubts? Were there any sort of like pitfalls that you came up against? If you see what I mean.
Yeah. As in relating to your coaching and also.
Yeah.
I think with your coaching, what I struggled with was the affirmations bit. Like, I think a couple of years ago, I used to be into that sort of stuff, but then recently I started thinking it was just like whoa stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, I struggled with that. I also struggled with just like, again, like, just moving past purely friendly to, okay, let me show this, like, to man to woman, my bad. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like, that transition was kind of difficult for me as well. And most of this was just getting comfortable, sort of like putting myself out there like that, innit?
Well, okay, so let's talk about this man to woman transition, because, all right, so for the benefit of anyone who's listening, a huge issue that Tawanga had, which is actually one I had when I was much younger, and one a lot of men have, is that it's hard to be sexual. It's like you're trained to not be a creep, and you're trained to treat women well. Yeah, and right. And it's good training, because you're not a creep and you treat women well. But then what the world doesn't tell you is that when you're Mr. Uncreepy who treats women well, and you dress really nicely and you're so courteous and respectful, they tend not to get wet for that guy. They tend not to. I wish they did, but they actually don't. So, but my question is, so the reason why we're here is because you had a situation occur a couple of weeks back where a girl gave you a blowjob in the dance floor of a nightclub. That is a million miles removed from something that would have happened to you when I first met you. So how the heck did you cross that chasm from, I find it hard to, because you can't be more man to woman and getting her to do that on a dance floor. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? like, that's quite man to woman. So what happened in your head to make you do that?
I think the transition was just like, just to be more bold about the way I move about in the club. Because the thing is, I don't even like clubs. Like, I'm sure you already know this. Like, I don't like clubs, but now I've kind of, I can tolerate them. I can tolerate them now. But yeah, so like, yeah, like, that's something that would never have happened like 4 months ago. I would not have pictured myself in the club getting head of a girl on the dance floor. Like it was definitely a big change. So what was happening through my mind? I was just, it was like it was one of those moments where you're like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna do this because it's fun, and let's just go with it and not, I don't know, overthink too much about it. Because before I would always go in my head, and I would just be stuck in my head and not really being present in the moment. I think what happened there was the girl could sense that I was, again, I can probably just describe it in like keywords, like I was in my masculine frame or whatever, in my masculine mind, and for some reason, like she could sense that clearly. She could sense that because I had a not like, can I swear on this? Like,
Yeah. Knock yourself out.
I didn't give a fuck about what other people were thinking about me or whatever fuck was going on. Like, I was just like there, and it's just me and this girl, and
See, what's interesting is that's something that I remember saying to you quite a lot. You know, that that when you're out and about, and truth be told, when you're with people in general, it's like be in the moment and have as much fun as possible. Because like where women are concerned, it's really weird. It's like there are some women who consider themselves sapiosexuals, and I'm not necessarily sure whether or not that's genuinely true or not. I actually don't know. I don't know. But
I think that's going on right now, you know.
Well, there's definitely some women that just like to say it because it sounds good. That's definitely true. But whether or not there's, a significant percentage that genuinely are attracted to intelligence, I don't know. But the vast majority, it's like all about the vibe. And when you're in your head and you're trying to think what's the right thing to say, what's the wrong thing to say, you create this weird energy that actually puts them off. It's the act of like trying to think of the right thing to say that actually makes them go, ugh. Whereas if you just went with the first rubbish that came in your head, it's infinitely better than sitting there ruminating, which is basically what you did. And then, because like, it's kind of like you create like a journey, like this wave of like emotion. And then she just gets swept up along in the wave. Well, people do as well. Men do to a degree, I mean, they might not necessarily suck your penis, but like, they'll, well, some would, depending on where you go. But yeah, like they'll feel the energy and then, it will captivate them. So seeing you do that, that made me feel really proud. Not necessarily because like, not necessarily because of the act itself, but what that act represents. Because I know that in order for something like that to happen in that kind of scenario, there's a huge shift that had to have happened in your brain. You know what I mean? There's certain people that something like that would never happen to. Never.
Yeah.
So
that was definitely one of the main things, though. Like overthinking things. Like usually I would be overthinking things and thinking one or two, three things at the same time. And yeah, I remember you saying like, okay, you should just focus on doing one thing and then just do that. Instead of like thinking about all this stuff about, okay, so I'm going to go to this girl. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, this and that after she says this, this and that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that I think was one of the big shifts.
When I said focus on one thing, was that when I said focus on being confident rather than like the specific things that you would do to portray confidence, like body language, eye contact?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just for the person,
all that. Yeah.
So for the person who's listening, what we're basically talking about is, so it's kind of like the way most pick-up confidence coaches work. They'll say, okay, so stand like this, that's correct body language, and then this kind of eye contact, and do this with your voice. And when you're managing all of these separate things, it's like you've got too many programs, there's too many tabs running in your brain. And, like your brain's RAM, it's just overloaded with all of this crap. And it's like you have to remember all of that, plus being witty with the girl, and it's just too much. But if you say, focus on being confident, then you'll do all of that stuff anyway. So like if I was to say to somebody, okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to bend over. I want you to start like hunting for nuts or for bananas, and then I want you to start going hoo, 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 hoo. And then I want you to like walk up to people and start picking fleas off them. You'd find that hard to do. But if I said be a monkey, you would actually just naturally do all that anyway, because your brain's like, oh yeah, monkey. So then all of the stuff that I just said the first time, which is actually hard for your brain to process, your brain could process it easily if I say be a monkey. So that's kind of what we're talking about. But
yeah.
Right before we go,
Yeah, you were like, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on. Say what you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you once said, just do what your most confident self would do.
Yeah.
I think that you always did it.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely much easier than focusing on all those body language, tonality, and all that.
But you know, the weird thing is, right, for the most part, it's kind of like this. So let's say you meet some man and the man's really cool. And this man who's really cool has a phrase that he says and he goes, yeah, man. And you like this guy and he's really cool. So what most people do, what everybody does, really, we all do it. You associate the coolness to the yeah, man. You know, like, so you think that what is cool is the fact that he said, yeah, man, that's cool. But it's not the yeah, man. It's the energy that created the yeah, man. So then, like, people look for specific things that will be cool, not realizing that it's actually not the specific thing. It's actually just the fact that that guy believed in himself so much when he said, yeah, man, that it kind of swept people up. So like that guy you said, yeah, man, he could have worn a plastic, like, I don't know, a plastic bin bag, and he could be like dancing in a festival. And like, that would be cool because, oh my God, this guy is just so crazy. He's just, look at this guy having fun. Wow, it's actually kind of compelling. It's not necessarily the specific thing that he does, which is why you can have like a 50 Cent who's considered cool, or I don't know, Lil whatever the fuck kids are listening to these days, hip hop wise. But then also other people that might be considered cool is like, you know, rock stars or whatever, or EDM stars. Like within their own specific groups, they're cool because like they believe in themselves and actually what they're doing. So the basic point is, it's not necessarily about what is the agreed upon thing that is cool that I'm supposed to do, which is what everybody thinks. It's actually like just generate that coolness yourself. And then people go, oh, that guy's cool. Oh, look at him. Wow, he's so compelling. There's something about him. But anyway, I'm rambling. So before we go, is there anything else that you learn as a result of doing the coaching with me?
Yeah. I think with you, I learned to trust myself more as well. Because I don't know, like again, like part of the doubts that I was having with myself is like I didn't trust myself. I didn't like trust I could actually do. Like say like you set me some tasks to do as well during this coaching period. I didn't trust myself to complete them. Again, I was stuck in that past mindset. And like, so what I've learned is like to trust myself. And again, like if I'm gonna take action, it's gonna have to be in, like, you have to be like 100% in, like all in. Because even before, like I would approach, I'll be like, I'll be like 70% in, and then I'm like 30% kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's definitely like taught me to be more sure of myself, even if I am wrong, but at least I'm like sure of myself and I can learn from that as well. And what else? Yeah, and also just to, again, positive self-talk. Like that's so underrated, and I never used to do it as much as I am doing it now, and it's definitely making a difference. So that's one thing I have to get off you actually. What else? But yeah, there's a lot more I've learned from you, but probably can't remember most of it right now. But yeah, mostly it's to take action, you know. I was part of the mindset I had was a very passive mindset. A lot of mental masturbation, basically just reading and watching stuff without actually going out there and putting it into action. So yeah, that's another thing I've learned from you.
Well, that's touching to hear, man. It's touching to hear. And like I said, it's been really cool to see your progress as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Been very, very, very cool. And I look forward to seeing more as well. You know?
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. For sure.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for your time. And thank you to the person in Timbuktu or Bali or Indonesia or Japan or Kenya, Nairobi. I don't know, wherever the hell you are and you're watching, you know, thanks for your time as well. Because you could be on Pornhub now, but you're here. So cheers.
Yes, that's true.
Or Netflix or anywhere. But yeah, anyway, bye-bye. All right, so I'm stopping the recording, but